and do the other thing. Not the
There is not a liberal America and any conservative America. There is the United States of America.
You're listening to 107.3 FM, the Minutemen Talk Radio Show.
They're like huge sea pods.
With CT Ron,
Darling.
the Dark Frenchman Steve,
Oh, oui.
and the Squid. On the Planet X Network, Arizona's independent political talk show.
Yo, what's going on, Arizona and America? You're listening to the Minutemen Podcast with your host, CT Ron, and the Dark Frenchman, Steve.
What's going on?
And we got the Squid.
Hey, everybody.
I want to say a big shout out to all my followers in the UK, all our listeners out here in AZ and California. I got some special shout outs for Robin, Jen Stop Trump, we got the Arizona Democrats, we got Wee T, we got I've Got Cookies, and RC Cinnamons. Hey guys, thanks for being awesome Twitter followers.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say a special shout out to everybody on SoundCloud who's followed us and everybody on our Facebook. Hey guys, thanks for being awesome.
Yes, guys, thank you.
Oh, well, I'm going to just let the music play out. It's going to be over. Alright, how's everyone doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good.
Alright guys, so let's get started with the week recap. I love that sound.
Yeah, me too. It's like perfect.
So, the National Regressive Association of America, the NRA, asked Trump and other politicians to not consider increasing the legal age limit to buy a firearm. Because in the wake of all the massacres, increasing the legal age limit to buy a firearm, that's too much of a threat to our Second Amendment rights. And meanwhile, while the gun debate rages on, there's another debate raging on as to what the hell Ivanka Trump does in the White House. And with the wake of all the scandals, step-downs, and just belligerent ridicule into obscurity, it just seems more and more like every day, like we're watching a reality TV show of The Apprentice, but in the White House.
Yeah,
It is.
I said it before, that the whole celebrity-in-chief thing, it's real, right? I mean, we're living day by day. It's sort of another real bad episode of a reality TV show, right, guys?
I agree, I say that every day. It's a horror show in my opinion.
I mean, seriously, it's like Meet the Trumps, but for everybody. If it's not Ivanka, then it's Trump Jr.
Well, real quick, I mean,
himself.
seriously, but all these people are stepping down. Who did we have step down again today? Who was it?
Hope Hicks,
Hope
the
Hicks.
communication director.
There you go.
Victim number who now?
Yeah, exactly.
Number 4?
No, it has been more than 4. There was.
But as communication director.
Oh yeah, okay.
4.
He was like, I don't see any communication in this area. In this White House, there's no communication here.
But did you hear that Trump actually went off at her when she talked to the House Intelligence Committee?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, because she told them that she's had to do white lies for Trump. I know!
Gas.
What?
Hold on. You're really telling me that someone intentionally lied in the benefit of Donald Trump? Are you kidding?
I know. It is crazy, man.
It is, and he said, or I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he was like, how stupid do you have to be to actually do something like this?
But it's kind of funny that he says that, and then right now it's kind of like, what does your daughter do again?
I know.
What is she the head director, of? I just think it's really great because, really, what is she doing? So there's actually a big push right now to actually get Ivanka out. Also, too, I don't know if you guys heard, there was about, I don't know the exact number, but a lot of staffers now just got their security clearance revoked. That just happened recently.
Yeah. And
that happened before we actually just came in here. I will pull up the story here a little bit later on the show to tell everyone about it, but yeah, that just happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into, let's have some fun with the good, the bad, and the weird. And let me tell you guys, we got some good stories today, we got some bad, and we got some weird. So let's kick it off with, of course, the good. So I don't know how many of you are aware about the teacher protests in West Virginia.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Now, a lot of people, there's been a lot of smear jobs on those teachers, like, oh, look at them, they just left campus and didn't take care of their students. Actually, when the teachers left, they actually, when the teachers went on strike, they actually packed lunches to make sure the kids wouldn't miss a meal at school.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you have a strike and you're a teacher, you're always going to be targeted as the enemy or the person that's not looking out for the benefit of the children. But again, these teachers,
They went door to door.
Door to door. I mean, you can't really crap on that. But again,
No, you
people
can't.
are going to smear you no matter what. So
I mean, I don't know if you heard some of the recent talk on the radio today here in Arizona, but they were talking about where do you draw the line on a pay raise for teachers? It's like, okay, well, you just supported the president on let's arm teachers and ask teachers to kill their kids, and then you're like, what? And they need a pay raise with that. My God, how gross! How disgusting! We only wanted to take away their tax deductions when they buy stuff for their kids, but that's so gross.
do they
for a
believe
pay
they're
raise.
robots? Do they honestly believe teachers are robots?
I think
Probably have to.
Honestly, so take away their pay. We already discussed the fact that they're trying to give them guns. So when they revolt against this and they are villainized now for taking some type of action against it and protesting, they're just like, oh, they're scum. Look at them. They don't care about the kids.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Well, here's evidence right now. They do care about the kids,
Oh, listen, I was watching this last night, and they were talking about this. One of the teachers, and I found this to be just astonishing and just absolutely sad. He works full-time as a teacher, and yet he qualifies for food stamps. That's how bad they are paid in West Virginia.
But no, that's not even just West Virginia. That's a lot of teachers.
Oh, like a lot
There's
of teachers
out here in Arizona that
and
qualify.
it shows like how bad some of these teachers are paid.
It shows you how bad the education feels.
It is.
And I'm 100% against anybody that's against them protesting. They have the right as an American to protest any other thing. It's a job at the end of the day. They need to be paid accordingly, especially now that they're that they're like, hey,
kill their students.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so weird that like, hey, I can't tell you to spit out that gum or respect me in class, but I can now shoot you.
Right.
Ridiculous.
All right, let's move on to, so that was good. Let's move on to the bad. So I consider this bad. For many of you Trump supporters, you'll be like, yay! So get this, guys. Israel has minted a coin in Donald Trump's image.
No.
That is right. An Israel organization said Wednesday it has minted a coin bearing President Donald Trump's image to honor his recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The Bangladesh Education Center said the temple coin features Trump alongside King Cyrus, who 2,500 years ago allowed the Jews to return to Jerusalem for their exile in Babylon. Now,
this coin, bro. Did you see the coin?
I'm surprised, this isn't more popular in America. I'm surprised I ain't buying this up in America. Yeah, I see the coin. They're like right next to each other. I think it's kind of funny. It's just like, it's like Trump, he's like, when he called, he's like, I don't want to be on the other side. I want to be right next to him. I got to be right next to him. Who is he? King Cyrus? Well, I'm King Trump.
I'm not going to lie. I love that look of that coin, bro. I mean, I kind of want one just looking at it.
It says a lot because they're actually putting Donald Trump over the other idols. It's like Trump is over this guy. It's like Cyrus back in the day. Trump's the new age. He's up front.
It's like the if you guys don't know, he's giving the Alfred Hitchcock pose. When he walks into the shadow. And
yeah, that's what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks like.
It looks so funny.
What I think happened too is when they were taking the pictures with the people to the model list, the guy who was actually Donald Trump just pulled the other guy in front of him like he did at the UN summit. Was like, no, me first. But I think it's I don't know. I think it's pretty I personally think it's atrocious, and he doesn't need anything else. I mean, I was hoping he would never actually have anything be minted or built in his honor, so he could be like, that's me right there, see, they made it out of me. But now he has a freaking coin
after him, and this guy.
I swear to God, he's going to fix the Washington Monument and be like,
no.
See, I fixed it. I just dedicated Trump. I'm going to rename it Trump Tower.
Picture of his face.
Well, is Israel smoking crack for this?
No, it's just, we discussed this countless times on the show. It has to do with the whole biblical hubu-jubu about returning all the Jews to Jerusalem so we can set up some type of doomsday scenario so everyone can die. Which, I guess that benefits a lot of people. But there you go. So that is that's that. So okay, here we got the weird. So I got something for you guys here on the weird here. Vloggers drink their own urine on YouTube and tout conversational urotherapy as having health benefits. Urine therapy. Vloggers are drinking their own urine and sharing their experiences on YouTube. According to Daily Mail, drinking urine, also called urotherapy, is not a new thing, but health bloggers are now using urine consumption to gain views on YouTube and tout the alleged health benefits of doing so. Oh God, here we go. So I must admit, I have actually tasted my own pee once.
I think, hold on here. Let's just be honest here. Who hasn't?
I've never drinking my own pee.
Stop.
I'm not kidding you.
I won't lie. $20. I did it for $20. I actually, my buddy's uncle once drank it for nothing, a whole glass of it. I mean, he was, granted, he was throwing up in the bathroom just constantly, but yeah. I mean, I have. I mean, if I had to give a description of it, it tastes like soapy salt water.
Right. It's salty, and it was, again, everyone's done it at least once. Even if you're like, oh, I haven't, it's like, what, you really haven't just like...
You're going to go home tonight and be in the bathroom like,
just like aiming your member up to your face.
Like,
I wonder if...
Or basically like how it happens in This Is the End, when Seth Rogen and... oh God, what's his face? Drink their own pee?
Oh God.
Craig Ferguson, that's who.
But you know what, dude? We've also seen these vloggers do what? Man?
We were just talking about the podcast. The podcast. I mean, the Tide Pod Challenge. Sorry, I don't know what I was saying.
I mean, they're doing this thing where now they're drinking the pee. It's like, are they trying to be like on this like Tom Green binge where they're just doing anything now? Yeah, but you know what? Is that like a video that we might see now?
I don't know. God, the whole pee. What I don't understand is like, I don't think there is any benefit to drinking your urine. I've heard that from survival experts. I've heard that from a lot of people that you shouldn't drink your own urine. I mean, it comes out of your body for a reason. It's all the toxins and all the stuff.
All the excess minerals.
Yeah,
that your body
exactly. All, the non-nutritious stuff that you don't need. So. I've even been told that you shouldn't drink your pee in a survival situation. That's even worse to do.
Oh my God! I mean, Bear Grylls and Madonna told me. But
I don't know. I don't think there's any benefit to this, even though these people are claiming that there is benefit to this. But my God, here we're doing this podcast. Everyone, is that what it takes? Do we need to pee in each other's mouth? Get some listens and likes on YouTube. What's going on?
Like, hold on, each other's squid. Open your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the next few minutes of the podcast, it pisses squid mouth.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that definitely is weird.
Alright, so here's the next story we're going to be talking about today. This one is, a little more home. So, unlimited tampons for female inmates? That is literally the article I'm reading out of the Phoenix New Times. All-male committee debates a House bill. And I believe we actually have some audio on how that debate went today.
I read somewhere that their periods attract bears. The bears can smell the menstruation. Well, that's just great. You hear that, Ed? Bears. Now you're putting the whole station in jeopardy.
That wasn't the actual debate, but no, it kind of goes into play with what actually happened. So they are actually debating this in this bill right now, whether this is some of the things that really got brought up. Can female inmates really be trusted with unlimited tampons? This is one of the main objectives of by the 9 members of the House committee.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we'll actually put up those names to the House committee on our website for you guys. But yeah, I think it's pretty funny. Now, I have to play devil's advocate on this, and I really have to because I actually did some research on this. Now, it is true that if you have a very heavy menstrual cycle, and forgive me, women, if, I'm sorry, okay? I'm just trying, this is what I learned. Okay. So, if you have a heavy menstrual cycle, yes, you can, in fact, get a really bad fever, and you can die from that. But there are women that actually like to free bleed. This is something that is actually a popular thing I found out that's not new, but I guess you can free bleed your period or your menstrual cycle and be perfectly fine. However, though, the one question I have for these committee members, and I'm putting it out there too, is, what the hell is wrong with you? Who do you think you are? Like, I'm being serious. I mean, I don't mean to be. No, I'm gonna be honest. Like, have some balls and some dignity, man, and just be like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's right. It's more healthy and cleanliness too at that to let these women have tampons in prison. You want them just to bleed everywhere? I mean, seriously.
Apparently, no. And you're opening yourself up for some type of massive breakout in any type of way. All these fights, because again, when women are on their periods, I'm not a woman, but they're very hostile. They're very. They're hostile to a point where their emotions are high.
No, I get what you mean.
Emotions are high, so they're volatile for their emotions to be rampant. They will say that themselves, which can lead to some women being very hostile.
So here's some of the things. Currently, the women receive 12 pads a month. If they need more, they have to ask a guard for permission. They also have to use their commissionary accounts to pay for the additional products. So they're not free. And, if anyone who has never been to prison will know, I mean, it's like 25 cents for a stick of deodorant, but that 25 cents takes you a long time to get to.
It does. Anyway, it's kind of funny because this has always been a hot topic, and I don't know if you guys watch Orange is the New Black, but they actually covered this in one of the episodes.
Really? I didn't know. No, I haven't watched that show in a while. But, no, I really do. But let's just, slap it right to the point, though. The point is, like, seriously, I mean, what's wrong with you? Have some dignity, man. I don't see why that's a big deal to be like, oh my god, they're going to make a tampon rope in Escape?
Yeah.
They're going to make a shake out of tampons. It's like, how did they escape? It's like, this just in, female inmates make tampon shanks and stab guards and break out.
It's something that is morally correct for a woman. You need to do that. They're not in Stone Ages here.
That's what I'm saying.
Really, you have to reduce them to that.
For every one of those committee members, I have to ask a question. Have you not gone out and bought tampons for your wife?
Right? Or your sister, or your mother, or something like that. Or female in your life? Like, really?
I mean, really, every single one of you on the committee, are you... Oh, God, female menstruation cycles. Oh, God, blood, period blood. Oh, jeez. But no, seriously, do you not, like, have any sense of dignity? I'm sorry. I mean... as a guy, we can't really relate, and that's why I'm saying, to all our female listeners, I'm sorry, but we can't relate to that, having menstrual cycles, but, I just think we sympathize. That's ridiculous, man.
It's like, oh yeah, no, we can't run that risk. It's like, but you're gonna just let them just bastardize themselves, like you said, CT Robbie. Yeah, you can. Women can, free bleed. Yeah, is what they say, but I wouldn't recommend it because it probably isn't the most sanitary and healthy wise for a lot of women.
Yeah, well, unless this prison is getting sponsored by Tide for every time this happens. Every time an inmate's clothes are cleaned with Tide bleach, they get something out of it. I doubt that's the case. But the point of the matter is, though, we just have some dignity, man. We live in the 21st century here. I mean, come on.
Yeah, show the women some respect.
Show them some respect. Just because they're in prison doesn't mean they don't have basic rights to cleanliness like that. I mean, geez, God. And a lot of the women said too that they have to barter and trade things for this. I mean, I think it's pretty sad. I think that shouldn't even be a debate in my eyes. And that's saying a lot to the committee members. And I we'll put those names up there. But yeah, I think you all should be ashamed. I really do. I think that all this shows is just how biased you are. The fact that you all have an all-male committee to debate things on female health issues is just absurd. I mean, you do know that, right? You do know that's absurd, and I hope some of you do listen to this, because it is absolutely absurd. You think you're doing some good, and you think you're clever, and it's probably because you get money from your donors to make all these decisions. That's probably what it is, more often than not. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you think you're fucking clever and you're cute, you're not, because it's actually quite sad that you want to make yourself borderline a Neanderthal and deny women these products. I mean, come on. Yeah. Come on, that's all I can say is come on. Yeah. Like, that shouldn't even be a debate.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about Steve Montenegro now.
Oh, yeah, man.
So, candidate in sexing scandal loses Arizona primary. He went down. All right, so anyway, Steve Montenegro lost the primary, and actually, Squid, if you can give me the name, is it Debbie Lesko? Oh yeah, it's Debbie Lesko actually was the one who won in his place. I think it's hilarious because we're seeing so many articles out today here in Arizona about Debbie Lesko sails to victory. It's like you might as well have beaten Roy Moore.
Landslide, all the comics. I know. It's so
You might
funny.
as well have beaten Roy Moore.
It's so funny how they're like, oh, it's like a Rocky moment. It's like,
Not really. This guy was getting topless selfies, and it's like, I'm surprised he did it with. I am. I'm very surprised, because we've seen that Arizona seems to love the worst of the worst here sometimes. I mean, Sheriff Joe Arpaio is the front runner. Hey, this is a good question. I wonder why. Are they giving him a pass because he's Sheriff Joe, or are they just not giving Steve Montenegro a pass because he's, a colored guy? I don't know. I don't like to ask those questions. That's for the voters to decide. But I think it's really quite funny because
It is.
with 100% of the precincts reporting, Lesko finished with 36% of the vote, according to the Associated Press. Montenegro received 24% of the vote.
What?
oh my god.
Yep, he still got 24% of the vote. That's too much.
That's too high, man.
It is.
24%. Who are those 24%?
Where are those 24% for Noah Dyer?
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Where are those 24% for Steve Wickard? I want to know right now.
Well, there was I was driving today and I saw one of Montenegro's.
I did too. I wanted to pull over and hump it.
Did you see that she was endorsed by Franks and Joe Arpaio?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he has a nice picture of Joe with Joe. I'll probably put that up on our SoundCloud. Yeah.
Thumbs up and everything.
No, they're like practically kissing. Sheriff Joseph's like, thank God I got one brown guy to come near me.
Like, oh my
Just saying, man. Just saying,
Yeah, that's terrible, bro.
Well, what's terrible?
With a name like Negro, man, you come on, bro.
Steve Montenegro.
Negro, you come on, man.
Montenegro.
Bringing a bad name to the word Negro, man.
Coming from you, Steve, that's terrible. Absolutely terrible. All right, so let's move into our next discussion here. So Alex Jones and the InfoWars are on strike 2 from YouTube for pushing conspiracy theories about the Parkland shooting. And I don't know if you guys have heard of some of these videos. I mean, they're absolutely gross. I won't lie. They're basically
Scummy.
They're scummy.
Yeah.
They're basically saying the Parkland kids are actors. They're crisis actors.
Yeah. They were talking about the child who wasn't there apparently at the shooting.
No. Apparently, one of the kids, and I guess when he was in California, he was on a show or something like that, and he said he wanted to be an actor. And they were talking about he forgot his lines or some crap like that, and they connect the dots, and all of a sudden they're crisis actors. Yeah. So,
Lord, man.
but real quick, we're gonna actually take a real quick break. We'll be right back before we get into this topic. All right, and we're back, everybody, and we're back with Lucas Maximus. What is going on, Lucas Maximus?
I'm good. How are you?
We are good. We're actually sitting here right now discussing InfoWars and their strike 2 with YouTube. And we're going to get into a discussion right now on should YouTube censor the right wing like this? Should they censor these conspiracy theory videos? I mean, I don't know if you've heard, Luke, about the Parkland shooting videos that are going on, calling these people crisis actors.
No, that's true. So that's a tough call, I would say. So first off, let's clear this out there. Obviously, these people are fucking psychos. I would want them, frankly, to really take these videos down, stop being on the internet, and then presumably just stay at the corner for the rest of your life, because that's basically going to be about as useful as you're going to be in the grand scheme of things. But I would say it's a very, very tough call, because as we've seen with Reddit and Twitter, once you crack down on these echo chambers, they fucking scatter. Because they definitely thrive off of the God's faith argument of free speech.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the whole being politically correct. It's like in their eyes, being politically correct means I can say anything to a black guy I want, right?
Exactly. They hide behind the idea of free speech, so that we're only engaging them on the idea. We're not actually having taken them to task for actually believing really shitty, toxic ideas. That have no place in mainstream society or even free society, frankly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But I want to kick off the discussion with this. First of all, I don't think YouTube should censor them. This is why. I mean, we've seen a pattern of this behavior coming from InfoWars, so it shouldn't really be that surprising. I mean, Sandy Hook. it was, you know, they were crisis actors then too. I mean, the Vegas shooter, that was another false flag attack. I mean, every single time there is a mass gun shooting, it is always a false flag government attack. Even the guy in Colorado, they were like, false flag, it's all about to come, you know, get your guns. I say, let him hang himself. You know, I say this openly on this show, I was an Alex Jones listener for a while, before he went batshit crazy. But the whole point is, when I listen to Alex Jones for a long time, you know, it gets to the point of it should get to the point of anybody who listens to him, and anybody who has a free-thinking mind to say, that didn't actually come true. And why is it whenever you keep saying the same line, there's a mass shooting, at one point it has to be the other side. I mean, even in probability terms, mathematically it'd be impossible if it's a false flag every single time.
Right.
I mean, that's like literally impossible.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think let them hang themselves. I mean, I know it's gross and disgusting, but I say let them hang themselves.
I would say the problem with that is, when again, nuclear war stuff, they're ranked somewhere like, 20, like, in terms of like media and YouTube channels, and they're pretty high ranked, and obviously that lend itself because, you know, the internet's a lot less gatekeepers. The problem with that is when we're talking about the size of YouTube, I mean, we're talking about really billions of people who use it every day. Even if, you know, 99% of these people are like, this guy's an idiot, there's still going to be that 1% that are still going to, like, take it up.
Don't we have that anyway in society?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that kind of
That doesn't necessarily mean that they deserve a platform. Once again, a private company. Don't forget, YouTube is a private company. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They are under no obligation to put up any of your videos. So in that regard, I would say YouTube has a responsibility to crack down on videos that are actively promoting harassment and limiting violence. You know, I mean, obviously they cracked down on ISIS and then they cracked down on ISIS and then they did the same thing with ISIS on YouTube, I believe, as well. I mean, we're looking at a group of people that are like basically fronts for neo-Nazi recruitment, and I'm not talking about neo-Nazi and like the left. We're talking about true swastika Nazis that are using YouTube as a platform to, to gain comment sections, to mass share videos, to, jump stuff at the top of the pile and get basically, this stuff right up there with the Miley Cyrus music videos.
Right. I agree with that, and for most parts, but the problem I also have with that, too, is how the establishment uses that to come down on channels like ours, like any kind of left-wing. They use that to come down on left-wing media, too. Even if you're talking the opposite direction about ISIS or about gun control, they still use that as, he's talking about gun control, they're talking about ISIS. Guess we got to slap them down with all the other right-wing media. So that's my only problem, too, is when you give them that power of, and I don't want to make the argument that it's free speech, but it is. Let them say, this is my opinion, let them say whatever they want, because they hang themselves, that's my opinion, but what happens is I just think that the establishment comes down on us, too. They come down on anything, they use that to come down on everything, to get rid of any kind of channel that talks about anything that might rock the boat.
In a way, I don't know. It's like Luke said, it's such a touchy topic because, I can see your point. I think I agree with you, where let them hang themselves to a point, but they kind of have been doing that for years. That's like Alex Jones's MO. It's like, everybody against me, you know what I mean? Like the me against the world type of thing. And, it happened with Sandy Hook. It happened with the Vegas shooting. And now it's happening here. And it's doing more harm than good because these people are now believing his hype. Hints,
but
an example, Pizzagate, that was his thing.
What I think is just on this topic of just letting them do whatever they want, and then assuming they'll hate themselves because they go down the 2016 election and guess what happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess that. Yeah.
They fall for technically they did implode, but they took the country with them.
Yeah, right.
I just think that we give them that leeway, and I'm talking about YouTube and the establishment media. They'll just take it and run with it on anything. They'll just use it to just be like, hey, we gotta censor all these channels now. Anybody who talks about that.
That's how the companies work.
Yeah.
Victims of shootings. I think Alex has crossed that line twice.
He's crossed that line more than that.
More than that.
Yeah, he did that with Pizzagate. He did that with Sandy Hook. He's done that with the Vegas shooting. He's done that countless times. Like I said, anytime there is a mass shooting, it is always the victim's fault somehow, or it's actually the government's fault. Not Trump, the government's. Anytime it's always a false flag attack.
Yeah, I would say we came about it like, you're Jordan Peterson, you're Paul Watson spaces.
Paul Joseph Watson.
Yeah, the fucking squishy-eyed, agoraphobic dude.
Janitor.
Basically, we gotta keep that, those guys, we can just stop their nonsense bullshit, that's fine, nobody cares. I think Alex Jones in this specific case, his videos, channels are actively encouraging harassment and threats to the survivors of a gun shooting.
See, I'll agree with you there. I think it actually does affect the victims in a way. Like, when it came to Pizzagate, when it affects the businesses itself, yes, I think you should be censored. But other than that, though, I don't think they should just take away everything they have to say. When he's spewing right-wing nonsense for Roy Moore and stuff, and how it's biased against Roy Moore, and there are allegations.
Or when it's specifically your fake
targeting
news,
people,
fake news, in quotations, that brings upon something that could have happened because the whole Pizzagate, that guy came in with a gun.
Yeah.
But it was based off of his story. It wasn't like a news feed.
Yeah.
It was based off of Alex Jones' story himself. So when it involves that, when you're enticing people to do that, you got like a Jim Jones type of cultist.
He's had that forever.
What I mean? And then people act on it. So I guess they're giving him, well, that's a strike to whatever YouTube's laws. And like Luke said, it's a private company. Where do you draw the line? Wasn't there like a YouTube guy who did the same thing not too long ago, where he did something stupid online and he got like a strike? And people defended him, saying like, "What's the big deal? Why? Who cares?" And you see, you're always going to have that 1% that kind of goes against the grain and says, "Oh, it's not a big deal."
I think we're always going to have that 1%. No matter what, whether it be YouTube or just in society, we're always going to have that fringe society that believes psycho babble.
Yeah.
But with
Right. I agree with you on that one.
But with
street fights on my break, that's what we do on Alex Jones. That's what you do on. You're better on YouTube with all my clips of the IT crowd and
right.
But with Logan Paul, like when he did that, and when YouTube saw that, they just went after him. He lost a lot of his advertisers. Like he lost
because you can't depict murder on YouTube, though.
Yeah,
it's just on screen in general. It's called snuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you can't make snuff films.
And he did it because of the outcry.
Yeah, he did, and like a day later, he apologized. I'm so sorry.
That shouldn't matter.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't matter, but and he was so remorseful. And then, I didn't think I should do it.
It doesn't matter. Your actions is
it caused
your demise. It caused his demise, just like we're going back to this Alex Jones. It's causing his demise.
Like I said, guys, I just think YouTube's loaded with conspiracy theorists as it is.
Yeah.
And it won't ever change like that, whether it be Alex Jones doing this kind of stuff or not. It's going to slip through the cracks eventually. Even later on down years, he'll do a video about this later. And he'll be like, they tried to stop me, from telling the truth. Or he'll just do a movie or a special about
it. There's so many Alex Jones clones that are waiting in the wings.
Oh, yeah.
For him to be like, if Alex Jones goes away, there'll be another Alex Jones that pops up in his place that does the exact
same thing. And I believe, Squid, you brought this into the studio, too, and we were talking about this initially. Kurt Schilling has actually been touting these conspiracy theories, too, right?
Yeah, he kind of was talking about the latest shooting and saying that some of these kids were, paid actors about this. And I read the story, and I just saw that has Kurt Schilling lost his mind?
He's been lost his mind.
Yeah,
you know?
he's been scum for a while, man.
I knew Kurt Schilling lost his mind when he asked Jack Tapper, basically, I've always wondered what's it like to be a Jew in your situation on live television. And Jack Tapper was like, what does me being a Jew have to do with anything right now? I mean, he's a crazy man. Yeah, he's put Pepe the Frog. I think his Pepe the Frog memes are anti-Semitic memes too on his Twitter. I mean, he's done all kinds of stuff. He has. He's lost his mind. I mean, he's crazy.
Nugent level crazy, bro.
Or Luke, and then you were telling me too, before we got in here, that Kurt Schilling tried to make a video game.
Yeah, he started a video game company. I didn't see the name. He took a lot of money in tax credits, loans from the Massachusetts state government to start this video game. And actually, I think you might remember it's Kingdoms of Amalur. Okay, I liked it. I liked the game. So he spent a huge amounts of money. Did a lot of paid for people to move out there, paid people to relocating fees and all that. Basically, the whole thing went tits up because he decided he wanted to make a loud killer.
Yeah, that's gonna work.
Yeah, even with all the money right now, he still wasn't gonna be able to do it. So the game came out, sold well, didn't sell round numbers, so obviously it completely tanked. The video game company went completely under. Most of his employees, many of whom had, moved out there, and hadn't fully gotten compensated for the relocation, were just basically stuck there. Some people were they lost their health insurance. There was a really scary situation where I believe there were a couple of people who were female employees and they were pregnant, and then all of a sudden in this new city they got a little health insurance. They basically just left this whole company and all of the employees off to dry. He repeatedly fought the Massachusetts state government and repaying the loans he took out. And then one story at one point he was selling his bloody sock.
Yeah,
he did, yeah.
That's funny. He's insane. He should sell skid mark underwear.
Yeah. And here's the thing, at the end of everything, at the end of everything, he's doing to shut the fuck up about job creators, about no taxes, about fucking Americans. He's a motherfucker.
So, go ahead.
It's if you try to talk against the conspiracy of CTE and football and dribbling on stage,
That's how he talks in general. I'm not doing your interviews, man.
Nobody believes you. You're not the best advocate here, buddy.
So, I'm sorry, I skipped another, we have another Alex Jones article I have to bring up. So not only has Alex Jones got strike 2 on YouTube, he has his own sex scandal going on right now. He is being accused, and he has a lawsuit filed against him by some former employees for sexual misconduct, racism, and workplace harassment.
Oh God!
Apparently, yeah, right. He apparently referred to one of his employees as the Jewish individual, the resident Jew, and then Jakobson.
Yeah. Really?
And then his former production assistant, Ashley Beckford, claimed that Jones once grabbed her behind as he was giving her a hug, saying, "Who wouldn't want to have a black wife?" Alex. Take it to the chocolate factory. Jesus God. But who's surprised? I'm surprised. Are you surprised by that? Right. Alright, so we're going to get into this topic before we go to our main topic, which is what everyone's talking about, which is the gun debate. And I'm actually happy to have, we have Lucas Maximus on the air tonight because he was absent the last couple shows, so it's good to get his take on this. So before we get into that, though, Senator Bernie Sanders and Mike Lee want to end military intervention in Yemen. I think this is brilliant. They put a proposal to the Congress talking about how they want to put the Congress back in power to declare war because they don't see the point of basically Saudi Arabia bombing the crap out of Yemen countlessly because as they say, there is Iranian-backed terrorists there. But this is all, from America's war on terrorism, which everyone knows is a very slippery slope, that any kind of militant can be Al-Qaeda, or ISIS. And, we're giving Saudi Arabia weapons to bomb the crap out of Yemen, and people are starving there. They have a blockade right now. Millions upon millions of people are starving in Yemen just from starvation, and it's not even a war. It's a slaughter right now. And so I actually applaud Bernie Sanders and Mike Lee on this. And the reason I'm even bringing this article up is because I actually saw some articles from Politico saying that Bernie Sanders and Mike Lee want to continue the Syrian war. Trump is trying to stop it. It's like, no, Trump just did an arms deal with the Saudis too. So one, he's not Mr. Anti-establishment. If anything, he's doing the same shit as George Bush and Barack Obama. And it's not helping at all. I mean, these people are dying not even from the bombs, but from starvation alone. And they say, their argument against this is that, no, they don't need to have Congress's approval because there aren't boots in the ground. That's what they constantly use all the time. That this is not a declaration of war, technically, because there's not boots on the ground. We're just giving them the planes and the bombs to bomb the crap out of them, but, we're not directly involved because of the technicality of it all. I just think it's terrible that we're in 7 interventions all around the world here. I mean, no end in sight to any of them. I mean, we just announced that we're staying in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq pretty much permanently. We also want to give over the security forces to the mercenary companies. That's one of the things Trump wants to propose, is giving the security detail from the military to basically Blackwater again. And if anyone doesn't know how that happened, that went real smooth last time. I don't know, Luke, I want to get your take on this. What do you think about this whole thing?
Probably have a lot of sensibilities here because this was continued Bush, continued by Obama, and there's been drone strikes have been increasing under Trump. We just don't hear about those stories because we just see them on care.
Well, I don't think it's that we don't care. I think it's the Republicans don't care, because when Obama was doing the drone strikes, oh my God, that was on Alex Jones's page every single day. Obama is killing people with drones. He is murdering people. And yet when Trump does it, you do not hear a word. Trump has actually increased the drone strikes. Article on our page, we actually wrote an article about that. He's actually doubled the increase on drone strikes. In fact, the number of drone strikes Trump has already done, he's almost met Obama's number in total as president. That is insane. And not only that, but Donald Trump signed a bill that allows private companies and citizens now to use drones. So every Republican that was touting that line of, I'm going to shoot down a drone. I'm going to shoot down a drone. Come to my property. Your president just allowed that to happen. So I just think the party line is funny. What's up, Squid?
Well, I got a friend in the military, and she was talking to me about being transferred to somewhere, and she was saying she's either going to Iraq or Afghanistan. I'm thinking, really, going over there? I mean, it doesn't even seem like that'd be even plausible to go over there. But yet to keep saying, "Oh, we're just gonna stay here and we're going to fight." ISIS and all this crap. I mean, why? Why send more people over to Afghanistan and Iraq?
Profit, buddy.
Profit. Money.
Profit. It's always been money, and it's always going to be.
It's always been money. Yeah, we have a, was it Eisenhower that ruled? I think it was warned about the military-industrial complex right after World War II, saying that we base our economy on war. That's what will end up being.
All it will be.
That's what all it will be. Is
after
money.
That, after that, it's
endless war. We have what I like to call the Roman complex here in America. Is wherever we find an enemy, after that enemy, there's another enemy just over the border. It's like, okay, those people are going to kill us, but now we got to kill those people too. Like, those guys are bad
there's
too.
There's a phrase for it. I forget what it's called, but it's got other things. People call it sort of like phantom wars, because there's always an enemy. There's never really any rest period, even though before. They're like, oh, well, what about before 9/11? It's like, well, what about?
You were in wars then too.
You were in wars there. I mean, we were. What about in the 80s with that?
The difference with 9/11 and with the change in the pace we have with 9/11 when it comes to our history is what 9/11 allowed the government to do was basically dive into our lives a lot more. They were able to be a lot more brazen about things in the idea that we're going to tout this idea of terrorism on everything. Everything will be terrorist. That's how you get past everything. That's how they did it with the Patriot Act. You know, if they thought you were a terrorist, they could do whatever you want. They could do whatever they want to. You didn't have any rights. It goes the same way with wars. It's like, if there's any kind of militant group, oh, it's ISIS, or oh, it's Al-Qaeda. I mean, we don't even necessarily know if they are. That's the group we put them in. I mean, there was a time we didn't even know we were fighting in Syria. We talked about that on the show. We didn't know who we were fighting.
Yep.
You know,
but we're fighting, but we don't know who.
You had the Pentagon and the CIA fighting each other, and they're killing each other on the same side with the same backed militant groups.
Yeah.
It's astonishing though. So I support any resolution to get us out of any of these endless wars. I think they're atrocious. I think they're a waste of money. I think all it leads is just an innocent death and more death on our taxpayer dollars. It's just sad. So let's move on to something a little lighthearted, something that I don't think he recalled was going to happen. Did you guys hear what happened to Jeff Sessions?
What's good old Sessions doing?
Well, Mr. Trump, our commander-in-chief, is not too happy with Jeff Sessions.
Yeah.
He went on a apparent Twitter firestorm. I'm trying to pull up the tweets right here if my computer would stop being slow. But, no, basically, Jeff Sessions hit back, too. Well, basically, let me see here if I can get this tweets. I'm sorry, everybody. Well, I can just give you the gist of them here. I can't pull them up. But anyway, Donald Trump was actually ragging on Jeff Sessions because of the Russia probe right now, talking about all the FISA warrants and all the intelligence gathered on Carter Page, how that was illegal. And Jeff Sessions hit. Oh, here he goes. Why is AG Jeff Sessions asking the Inspector General to investigate potentially massive FISA abuse? Will take forever. Has no prosecutorial power and already late with reports on Comey, etc. Isn't the IG an Obama guy? Why not use Justice Department lawyers? Disgraceful. Trump, this Russia thing. You know, you had Paul Manafort today plead not guilty, which was interesting. I actually thought he was going to plead guilty. Well,
You thought.
I don't know why everything was going to plead to that. I wonder if I want to know. I want to get you guys' take on this before we move on to Jeff Sessions. Do you think Paul Manafort did that because he thinks Trump will pardon him? You got a lot of right-wingers right now on a lot of different shows calling for Trump to use pardoning power.
Oh, definitely.
In the Russia probe. You think he's going to pardon Paul Manafort?
You blatantly think he's just going to do that. He has to.
What do you think, Luke? You think he's going to pardon him?
But, I would say, again, he's still on his trial, so, you can't pardon anybody until,
Yeah.
actually has the proof, right?
It's September 17th is when the trial is going to be set for Paul Manafort. I don't know, guys. I think anybody needs to ask themselves if he pardons anybody in the Russia probe. I've said it countless times on the show. Then, if that happens, America needs to sit there and ask ourselves, are we going to let that happen as collectively, Republicans and Democrats? You are literally saying this man is above me, above the law of the United States of America. He is above me. He is king. You are essentially saying he would be king, your Lord and Emperor.
Well, I'm going to take you back. What did you do with Joe Arpaio when he was found guilty? He gave him a pardon.
Yeah, it was a different take, though. I mean, you're talking about pardoning people that are directly in an investigation, that are involved in the investigation against them. Arpaio, I think, was actually a test to see how far he could reach.
Arpaio was basically, he did that, but it was out of the reach where he wasn't in the hot water. Like,
yes. He did that to see if he could get away with it.
Yeah, and it worked.
It worked.
So, I don't know, man. I feel like I don't want to believe that Trump is as stupid, but I don't want to get burned either. So
I don't think he's stupid. I think he's actually being really smart on this, and this is why I say this, and I keep bringing this back to his base. His base doesn't care what he does. I mean, we talked about this on like a couple shows ago, how the evangelical support for him is at 83%. Yeah. Like, even among Republicans, it's high right now. The Republicans, even modern Republicans, are liking Donald Trump right now. His base will believe any lie that is put in front of them right now. Any lie. And it doesn't make sense, because if they don't have pushback, if there is no pushback on that side, because the majority in Congress right now is Republicans, which might be changing here soon, it won't happen. Nothing will happen, because his base won't do anything, the Republicans won't do anything. He'll get away with it.
Yeah, that's so true. Think about those numbers again.
I just think he will get away with it.
Why would he do it? If you're on him, you're basically like, you're thinking, hey, I'm on a roll. So why stop this? And, I'm going to roll this until the wheels come off.
So here's what Jeff Sessions hit him back with. He says, as long as I'm Attorney General, I will continue to discharge my duties with integrity and honor, and this department will continue to do its work in a fair and impartial manner, according to the law and Constitution.
Dang.
Except with marijuana, right, Jeff Sessions?
Mm-hmm. God, man.
Say it's right. Say it's right.
Man, Sessions thinking right now, like, I should have not left the Shire.
He does look like a hobbit. I think you're doing an insult to hobbits everywhere.
No, he was Bilbo. Wasn't he in the third movie in The Hobbit, man?
What do you think of that, Luke? Do you like Steve's comparison of Sessions to a hobbit? I find it insulting.
I think it's pretty apt. Yeah. It is super funny that Jeff Sessions and any other administration would be like one of the most embarrassing figures in the federal government, but because of the rest of this administration, he's effectively one of the only people that's doing their job. So, like, there's kinda.
I think you gave him the most polite, most, generous description of Jeff Sessions right now as acting Attorney General. Because it's like, you're like, he's doing his job. It's like, kinda.
Like, he's doing a bad job as an Attorney General, but he's really doing the job, and that he is not investigating only the things Trump wants him to.
That is true, yeah. That is true.
I gotta investigate it, and that's what you do. Like, Jeff Sessions like that just cannot comprehend the fact that, Trump doesn't know what his job is. Jeff Sessions just kind of has to, it's like, no, I have to do this, because that's what the Attorney General does.
Yeah. All right, so let's move it in. Oh, do you want to finish up, Luke? Go ahead.
No.
Okay. Oh, I know, right? Yeah, I know. Take some aspirin. Yeah, and people don't need weed and painkillers.
Guys, listen, he's just mad because he took a bad hit back in the 70s. And he never got over it.
Yeah, again, go back to my one of my other points was that this crazy brand of just giving their effects alt-right nihilism modeled by the Trump administration, the old school uptight conservatives seems almost quaint,
That's why I'm glad you brought that point up. That is why too, and I'm so glad you brought that up because there's another point that I want to make. This is Will Ferrell came out recently after George Bush did that speech, and you're saying every moderate Republican right now, all these old Republicans that we used to view as so bad. They're coming out and Democrats are loving them. Will Ferrell came out dressed as George Bush and said, I was a bad president. Don't forget that. I was terrible. You hated me too. And it's true. George Bush did a lot of horrible things too.
Yeah. Think about it now. It's like child's play.
Well, I don't think
different ways.
George Bush is a war criminal.
Bad. Yeah,
he is a war criminal.
He's still bad. Go back and look at his stuff.
Trump hasn't gotten there yet.
He's almost there.
He's almost there.
He's tittering.
He's trying to push that record right now. He's like,
bombing a non-existing airfield, or not an empty airfield, I should say.
Right. But he's kind of like, you know what? Worst president in modern day history. Hold my beer. I got that.
Right. God.
Go big or go home, man.
I think that is his idea. With everything, it doesn't really go well. All right. So let's move into our main article, which is, of course, of what everyone's talking about is the gun debate. And I want to get everyone's take around this, so let's continue because we've had time to assess and hear analysis from everybody else around the media. But I actually wanted to bring this up tonight, specifically on this show, because I feel it is a very key point that no one is talking about. I heard it a little bit on the radio today, but the points that were made to it were absolutely atrocious and nowhere near accurate. So what is it? So on February 28th, today, in 1997, there was the North Hollywood shootout. where two armed suspects, two bank robbers, acquired high-capacity magazines, flak jackets, assault rifles, and they were almost able to outmatch the police. And at the time when this happened, they injured 18 people in this shootout.
Wow.
Now, granted, the only two people killed were them. But what happened during the shootout, what no one was reporting about today, was not only did these guys have weapons that outmatched the police had to answer back by basically going into gun stores and buying the same, or taking the same things out of gun stores to fight them back. So imagine that for a second. This is like before SWAT had to get there. These guys had to run into another gun store and get the rounds, the armor-piercing rounds, everything else to fight back these bank robbers. And this kind of goes to show, like, since 1997, not much has changed. And I'm not talking about school shootings. I'm talking about the men in blue that all Republicans talk about they care about, the law and order party. These police officers were almost gunned down because of lack of gun regulation. These guys were able to acquire this huge armament and basically almost stand up to the police. Two guys injured 18 people and took on almost the entire California Hollywood Police Department.
Wow. Just insane.
I mean, this shootout was big. I mean, it lasted a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, they had AKs with drum magazines.
That is ridiculous.
And, you know, it kind of goes to show you, since then, what has changed? What has changed? I mean, we had Sandy Hook, and, you know, we have had Columbine, we've had all these things, kids dying, police dying, you know. And I think it's really, really tragic that you have politicians like Steve Scalise go out there and talk to the victims of being a victim himself and saying that he doesn't want gun regulation. Why? Because he gets paid by the NRA. The NRA money is that powerful and that deep in their pockets that you will have a guy go out there and be like, yeah, I got shot, but you know what? I don't think there should be gun regulation. I mean, I want to go around the table and get everyone's view on this. Like, let me start it out first. I do not think there should be a ban on assault weapons. There needs to be gun regulations on certain issues like high-capacity magazines. Certain individuals with mental health should not be able to get acquire firearms. But, you know, I'm a responsible gun owner myself. I own a gun. And, you know, there are crazy people that do get a hold of guns, and that's the problem. But there's also legislation that allows that to happen. You know, backtrack a little bit to the show when we were talking about how the NRA just asked Donald Trump to reconsider raising the legal age to buy a firearm. They don't want it to be raised. They want it to be, you know, they don't really want it to stay the same. Yeah. So even when people are being massacred, cops, kids, it doesn't matter. They don't want to change anything. Right. Why? Because profit margin says that those massacres do good for business.
Yeah, and you know, and one of the key things to remember is the NRA membership is around 5 million, and that is I mean that's a decent number, but when you consider the sheer amount of gun owners in this country, that's a really small percentage.
Yeah,
and we have to imagine that at this point, you know, with the amount of companies kind of withdrawing their support, but you have to understand that at this point the NRA is entirely, you know, their perpetuation is from, they are the gun lobby. They are the gun, you know, they get their money from the gun lobby. And so they're very intransigent on this. We're seeing some movement on the horizon.
We saw Dix pull their support, but I actually want to get into that too real quick. Before anybody talks about Dix and how good of a thing that was great that Dick's Sporting Goods did that. I applaud that they did that. However, many people may not know, Dick's Sporting Goods still sells assault weapons at their stream stores. And it's they're basically the Dick's outlet stores.
They're massive, yeah.
They're outlet stores. They still sell them now. The only the closest one to us, there's none here in Arizona. The closest one is 800 miles, I think, in Colorado. Where you can, but Dick's still sells assault weapons. No matter what, they will tell you. I mean, in their outlet stores.
Yeah.
So I hope they move towards a ban literally all the way across the board.
Yeah.
I hope that's what they're doing now because
I think it's a process.
in the last shooting, this happened the last time. They said they were going to do that, but they still sold it.
But they did it now. I think it's just a process. This is a tough decision for a lot of people. Obviously, I mean, if you get shot and you're saying that you need, I still don't believe that they should be regulated. And, listen, that's an amazing statistic that from 1997 to 2018. How many? My thing is everybody else's thing. How many children do we have to lose?
No, children, cops, people. It doesn't matter.
And just how many people? How many innocents do we have to lose? Like innocents. You know what I mean? Not to discourage anything from police officers because, how many do we have to lose of them too? They're out there protecting and serving and they're putting their lives on the line. But how many, bystanders do we have to lose to this? Besides people saying, like a Dick's Sporting Good back in the day. Yeah, we'll do it. But it took another mass shooting for them to be like, okay, let's do it.
It took another mass shooting for Trump to ban bump stocks from the last massacre.
From the last massacre.
The last massacre was the biggest issue was bump stocks. Nothing happened. Then we got this massacre. He's like, okay, well, now we'll do something about bump stocks.
Now we'll do it, yeah. And,
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
Okay, I would say the one thing I'm concerned about is that, there's this one subsection on the pro-gun side that is just going to be against any form of regulation. I feel that at that point, I think we can completely ignore them because they're not interested in any ideas at the table. And they don't have any other ideas other than just keep things as they are. If you think things can stay as they are, you're insane.
Right. Because, I don't know if you know the statistics, though, but, it used to be said one of the huge right-wing arguments is, well, more guns equals more safety. No. Actually, no. What was it? I think it's actually Yemen was the second country that has the most guns per capita, and they have just as many murders as we do here in America. So the debate about, more guns equals more safety is not true whatsoever.
Yeah. The key thing to worry about is, in the case of Dick's Sporting Goods or even something that Trump today is looking to push for some gun regulation. Again, that's just something his pudding brain and just agree whoever with the last person in the room. So let's do guns. Because he has no true genuine policy other than what makes him look good.
Yeah.
So the thing I'm worried about is that they will pass what might be small, pointless measures, clap their hands and be like, we're done. And then, of course, not only sets it up for the next time when laws that don't actually do anything, you get the next mass shooting, and then they can come back and see, we tried the regulations that, we knew wouldn't work, and they didn't work.
I think we're moving into an idiocracy, really. I mean, when we get to the point of where it's like, yes, let's arm teachers. Let's arm students. They keep saying the more thing. It's a mental health issue. It's not about the guns. It's a mental health issue, and it's about the heavy metal music and the lack of God. They keep saying that kind of stuff, but it's like, but you constantly roll back that legislation. So I think and we talk a little bit about him on the negative side, but I'm gonna actually talk about him on a more lighter side. Kyle Kalinske made a good point on his show on Secular Talk, and when he talked about the NRA and their gun debate town hall with Dana Loesch, he said it's really hard to have a conversation if the opposite party is constantly lying. And that is what the NRA did in that town hall. Jack Tapper, CNN, did not do any fact-checking on anything Dana Loesch said. They let her sit there and say that, well, it's a mental health issue. I don't want the guns to get in the hands of mental people. But you roll back legislation allowing that. You can't shit in your cereal and eat it at the same time.
Right, yes. Right.
It's kind of crazy. But before I forget this, Walmart actually did the same thing what Dick's Sporting Goods did too.
They did it with Columbine. They got rid of the ammo. I remember that.
After Dick's Sporting Goods raised their age to 21, Walmart did it.
But they got blasted though.
They get blasted.
But it's always taking this. It's like you get rolled back when you get exposed. These companies don't want to get exposed. That's why they were touting like, "Hey, guess what? They're putting it on Twitter. Hey, we're rolling it back. We're not. We're about to ban it. We're putting on these bans."
Where were you earlier?
It's like, but where were you with Sandy Hook?
Yeah.
Where were you with this Vegas shooting? And now you're at this shooting. And now they're like, okay, well, let's do it, but why now?
Part of it, I think, has to do with, like, the CEOs. They're kind of seeing just the fallback from it and just all of this. And then...
Because profit says it's bad for business. That's what that's the perspective you're giving here. Yeah. Is that's their problem. But it's not about money. And, I actually had this talk with someone recently, too. I think this whole shooting debate, this whole shooting gun debate, what it really has shown is how deep money goes in these politicians' pockets from associations like the NRA.
Where they
literally are controlling the narrative right now because of how much money they have with the control over these politicians. It is crazy. It shouldn't even be a gun debate right now. We should be having a money debate in politics.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. And we see this on the Democratic side, too. Whenever they try to push Medicaid for all, you usually have Democrats who are backed by the pharmaceutical companies come back and push back on legislation like that and try to roll back legislation for the pharmaceutical companies. But, it really gets to me, though, like, this is kind of the time and era we have to have. It's like, profit says that we can't take this away, but, the countless death everywhere.
And continuous
countless deaths.
This is just the first one of this year.
This is the 18th shooting this year, yeah.
You know what I mean? So how many are we going to go forward through, the remainder of 2018 before another company, decides to go like, well, I decide to roll back, you know what I mean? My propositions on gun control.
Yeah, I hear what
you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, what is it going to take?
Another good question is, too, like, let's say Walmart, for instance. How long is it going to be before Walmart, gives in to the base of people saying, why are you guys doing the guns, Second Amendment rights? And then they're going to give in to that and eventually put it all back to where it was. Eventually, Dick's Sporting Goods will go back to where it was, too, once this is all forgot about. That's what I think will happen, too.
You think you're just going to roll back as soon as...
as soon as everything goes quiet, it'll go right back to where it was. I don't... Until something changes with the money in politics here, it will not change. It is that bad. You have a guy, I think, as Lucas Maximus famously put it, Steve Scalise, who got his butthole shot off. He'll sit there and go and say, yeah, I don't think anything's wrong with guns.
Basically, yeah.
Dude legit got shot. And
Mr. has to probably piss in a catheter now. I don't care, though. I hear a lot of people say this, too. I'm going to bring up two things. One, I hear people say, after the Alexandria shooting, there was no Democrats call for gun control? Yeah, we did, actually. So anyone who says that that's not true, you're being gross and being really being very broad when you say, no Democrat, we did on this show. We're like, this is, because crazy people get a hold of guns. We said that on that show that time, too. God, dude, I think, too, I don't know if you guys heard about, I forget who it is she's been really famous on Fox News. She said basically these kids have no right to decide anything on gun control.
Yes, I forget her name. But, for a good phrase, she doesn't deserve...
Isn't it Diana something?
I'm going to look it up. Something like that. But she did say that, again, it's like, at that point, I think I have to agree, because it's, when you have people that can say that, you know what I mean, after this incident, where is the line? Was there ever a line? To be honest with you, with these companies, it's all about, all right, I'm going to take it back.
It's not even a line about profit. It's a line about human decency, man. Where's the line on that? Where's the line when you guys say too much is too much?
Okay, why do you need human decency when I can just have money?
This is true.
Why would they care about human lives when they don't really value lives and
their lives aren't directly affected either.
Yeah, I don't even think they kind of value themselves. It's more of like, let me just get the money.
Yeah.
I don't really care what happens.
They don't see people, they see profit margins.
Right.
Dollar signs.
They see the numbers, and, when they see people that die, it's just kind of like, I feel really bad, but it's like less money in my pocket.
I just think it's really gross is how we try to tell the victims right now, especially. That's the most I've gotten out of this whole situation, too, right now, is how much we we go after the victims when they say things that we don't want to hear. You know, like going against saying that they don't have a right to say things about gun control. Were you there? Did you not see the pictures of the massacre inside? You didn't have to run past your best friends and classmates murdered in cold blood right there through the school. You didn't have to see that because you sit in the studio and sit there and tout a party line that, you know, because Prophet says this is what you're supposed to say. It's gross. It's really, it's over, it's, you know, over dramatizing. It's just a gross situation. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna wrap it up here. But I want to hear everyone else's take on this. So, where do you stand with the whole gun debate, Luke? Do you think there needs to be gun regulation now?
I do think there need to be gun regulations, yeah. And I mean, I've always been apathetic overall to guns. It's like I mean, I used to just be like, I don't care if you have them. I also, frankly, I mean, I'm not saying full ban. I also kind of don't care if they're banned like that.
You go either way.
I mean, I know we won't get there, and I'm not proposing that we do that because it'd probably be a huge mess. And yet, even other countries that do have gun regulations haven't done a complete sweeping ban. But yeah, there are definitely some legislation that are come forward that I think a lot of people could agree we can move forward on. I think the quickest thing, though, the most important thing would be to just allow the CDC to study gun violence.
Exactly. Yeah. Which the NRA, I'm glad you brought it up, which the NRA funded for them not to do. They actually put a clause in there that said they will not do any research on gun violence.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. That needs to happen. I mean, one way or the other, because these things can really affect the true solution one way or the other.
Poison, yes. Yep. What the NRA is doing right now is poisoning the situation. They're not making it better, they're poisoning the situation. I think,
probably the biggest issue would be to get rid of the NRA. I think they are totally unproductive for the situation. They need to be quiet.
Yeah. They're doing the opposite. Yeah, no, they're doing the opposite. It's,
oh yeah, they're spokesman.
Yeah, if you're a gun owner, get away from the NRA, find another gun advocacy group. You can be conservative, and I'm not, but I think the NRA is all about the money. It is
absolutely. It's all about the money to them. It's not about your Second Amendment rights.
We do not need the gun manufacturers in a debate here. If they have one goal only. Obviously, other people are coming in from different agendas too. Their agenda is explicitly just have more guns to make money off of. There's no other incentive for them. So, yeah.
I actually am on a middle ground here. I believe there should be gun regulations for people that don't deserve to have guns and people that shouldn't acquire guns. I think there needs to be background checks. However, though, my stance on guns is that I don't think we should get rid of guns entirely because I've made this joke, and the more I go through life making this joke, the more I actually kind of stand by it because I actually really believe it. I usually sit there and I say, I don't think we should take away all of guns because the government's fucking crazy, and I don't want to be, I don't want to, not be able to have the right to defend myself if the government comes and just decides like, hey, mass genocide.
Yeah, but you know what, dude?
I mean, even though there's an unlikely scenario.
Yeah, but
the government is insane. I mean, we have an insane president right now.
You know what? Honestly, I take the same side as you with this. I mean, I would want to see stricter kind of laws with people who have like mental disabilities. Keep guns out of their homes.
Rounds,
high capacity rounds, especially high capacity rounds, because
or high capacity magazines. Sorry.
Well, I mean, because worst case scenario, something like this happens again. I mean,
it will happen again.
Worst case scenario, the only case scenario happens again.
It will happen again.
There's no worst case. There's someone else can happen. Yeah, it's going to happen again. I mean, it will probably die down now just because the country's so on edge. But the first person to try it will probably not get far. But yeah, it's going to happen again. I mean, and God forbid, with all the death threats the teenagers are getting, if somebody tries to target them, then what the fuck?
Yeah, that's just.
I mean, I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not saying it's a likely thing to happen. I'm saying that's a very real possibility.
Yeah.
Because again, it's getting very polarized. A lot of the gun people are probably going to get a little, a lot of the more unhinged ones, probably going to get a little bit uncomfortable as if any real meaningful gun regulations occurs, then that's we're probably going to be at with it. So I think that's also something to think about when, if any major gun law does pass, how the more extreme gun owners are going to react. Usually they just react by buying more guns.
It goes down to the black market too. There's always a black market supply for stuff and weapons and guns. I mean, it's actually really easy to acquire an assault rifle through illegal means more than a pistol.
But again, the thing about the black market is that then it becomes a lot more expensive, and then you do illegal trade, so then it makes it harder. I doubt any of these fucking 15-year-old kids are going to be able to successfully navigate the Silk Road all that well without having 1,000 FBI flags on them.
If regulations happen, that would be easy, but it's very easy. You can just go on Backpage.com and actually get a rifle. I mean, people trade. They'll be like, I'm looking to trade this rifle for such and such, or $800.
True.
That's how it is. That's how it is. And in Arizona, too, you don't even need to have any kind of receipt. You just need to see the other person's ID. There's no bill to sell, really.
That's one of those things that I think they need to shut down. Like, don't, have a regulated set of places you can buy from that you can track.
On the tracking thing, too, I also think if you have an armory of weapons, you should be red flagged. I know some gunners will be like, whoa, if you have 30 guns in your home, I think you, one, are a little paranoid, and two, you're a little overkill there. That's a little bit of an overkill. I think the government should have you on file. Anytime you go anywhere to buy a gun, or anytime you look at a gun, the government should be like, do you need another weapon? You have 30 right here. Why do you need more?
Yeah, you should be, it's the same thing of like how the FBI puts you on those special black book if you purchase things. Like there's what's that book like on pipe bombs? Like if you buy that book, you're on the FBI's list. If you buy that, you're automatically on the FBI's list. They should do that. Like after a certain amount of guns, okay, hey, that's your third gun. Do you honestly need third? And that's your assault rifle.
The argument you're going to hear, though, is like, there are people that have more than 5 guns.
Why do you need them, though?
You don't need that many.
That's all they want. That's all they want to know is why do you need that many?
Home defense and hunting, there's 2 right there.
Zombie apocalypse.
There's 3 if you want to be dumb.
Right. But
that's what I'm saying. You don't need an armory. Now, if you're a gun collector and you collect old pistols that are out of service, I understand that. But if you're like just collecting assault rifles, there's an issue. Weapons of war, there's an issue there.
I feel like you should sign off on
flak jackets, there's an issue there.
That's an issue of any kind.
Silencers, that's an issue.
That's another issue. Yeah.
You have a mental disability, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and end the show tonight with the fine line that you were talking about, Steve. I don't think there is a fine line. I don't think the line will ever be crossed. I think the outrage from these students will be met with deaf ears. I don't think that anything will really change. I think, if anything, there'll be minor changes like the bump stocks being gone. I mean, they'll just invent a new way to make automatic rifles fully automatic, and there's countless ways. I mean, you can do it with a piece of metal in the trigger guard very easily on an assault rifle. There's countless ways to change that. But, from children to cops to adults, it just doesn't matter. I don't think there is a fine line. America likes its guns, unfortunately, and, we like killing each other. And until, something changes that perspective, I don't think anything really will. Until the NRA gets money out of politics, until, politicians actually stand up for what's right, which is human decency and not profit margins, then we'll see change. But until then, I think these kids are, as I hate to say it, their tears, they go unaccounted for. It's like the blood of the people that are murdered in these massacres, man. I mean,
it's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
Those kids that are now traumatized by this event, what's the percentage you think that they now need a gun to protect themselves?
Yeah. Well, gun sales have gone up since the shooting. And Dan Loesch said that the media loves mass shootings because it's good for their business. No, it's actually good for your business. And that's why you said that.
That's why you said that.
That's why you said that, because it's not people that like massacres. People don't necessarily like to see that. You do. And that's going to be the Minutemen Podcast. I'm your host, CT Rob, with Lucas Maximus. And the Dark Frenchman Steve.
Thank you.
And Squid.
We'll see you guys later.
And thank you, Arizona and America and the UK. You guys have a great night.